What's up, y'all? Welcome to Never Shut Up. I'm your host, Marcellus Wiley, and y'all know me, so y'all know I am pumped for this moment right here. And a lot of questions about, Marcellus, how did you get there? Where are you? And I know what you guys want to know. You want to know the why. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about why I left Fox Sports and why now I'm on Brenkus TV and Reach TV. Well, it starts with the state of media today. Now, you guys know me, and I like to keep it real. And the last place that I've been that was real, like I like it, that was fun, everybody was honest, we were agreeing, disagreeing, beefing, it didn't matter. It all went down in the locker room. And that's why this set is designed just like that, a locker room, where we're gonna have conversations that are gonna start where your conversations generally end. We're gonna go deep, we're gonna go layered, just like we did in the locker room. Everything goes down in the locker room, no matter what you guys are talking about, no matter what you're thinking, no matter what you're going through, we're gonna lay it all down on the table. So me, I find myself right here at Brenkus TV because that changed in the media today. We cover sports, we cover life, culture, entertainment, whatever it may be. But now it's a little more laced with agenda than it is with honesty. I got to a place where my takes became hot takes just because they were the truth. People became uncomfortable with me because they were more comfortable with lies. And I kept looking around like, what is going on? Was it the pandemic? Was it just because everyone was making so much money, putting on a suit and saying whatever as long as it clicked and hit on social? And I was just sitting there like, I feel out of place. I'm from Compton, where my grandmother, my mother, my father, they raised me to always speak the truth and nothing but the truth. And then you find yourself in a position where that's not the reality. All of a sudden, you got decisions to make, right? So I'm at Fox Sports enjoying my life. You know, I'm at the top of the mountain, belly all full, loving life, getting paid, comma after comma after comma. But I was just noticing that it wasn't fulfilling. I had a family, 4 kids, and my wife, and I always had homework. So every time I would go to the set and do my job, I have to go home and check my work. That means I looked at life through the lens of my family. I looked at life through the lens of my kids. And I was like, is this the world I want them to inherit? A lot of BS, a lot of fluff, people not being authentic? Or am I gonna be the example that I profess to be when I'm at home? So now I'm at a place where I realize that there's 2 things we're gonna do together. And I made this realization when I was at Fox Sports. I needed a platform, I needed opportunity to go out there and challenge everyone watching to either go with me on this journey to learn or unlearn. I'm gonna say it again. We're gonna go on this journey together to learn or unlearn. A lot of times we're all told what to learn, what to memorize, what to just go out there and digest and then throw it up at the cocktail party, right? But that's just the beginning. The depth of it is when you get to a place where you're so open, when you get to a position where you're so vulnerable that all of a sudden you're in a position to unlearn. Yeah, they call them generational curses. Yeah, the thing that you thought and you swore by that you were holding on to so tightly, tighter than her or him that you love, you couldn't let it go. But on this show, we're gonna challenge you not only to learn, but to unlearn. Because I love sports. It got me to where I was. I used my brain and I used ball to become who I became. But now I'm looking at it where the meritocracy of sports is compromised. It's big business, right? The best players don't always play. But also the coverage of sports and every other genre of media has turned into where now your opinion is taken into account more so than what we actually see on the court, on the field, in real life. And to me, that is too out of whack. So our conversations right here, they're gonna be unfiltered. That's right. I'm in a position where there will be no stones unturned and no stones thrown. Did you hear what I said? No stones unturned. We're going everywhere, but no stones thrown because I am flawed and I'm vulnerable. So as I go through this process, I'm going to talk about what I've done that is in parallel, in sync with things that are happening right now. Because nobody likes to talk to that OG who act like he never did it wrong. And then all of a sudden comes up and is like, oh, I got everything. I got all the answers. Get off my lawn. Nah, I was a nut. I was a fool. I was a mess. But I also was smart. I also was wise. I also was disciplined. And I think all of us have those positive and negative attributes. So being here, I'm now on Brinks TV and Reach TV because I have a tremendous relationship with one person and one person in particular who I'm going to bring on in the next block. His name is John Brenkus. We're like-minded, but we're not like-looked. If you look at me and you look at John, you look at me, you look at John, you look at me, you look at John, you're going to realize we have a lot of differences. But peel back the layers. Listen, learn, unlearn. You'll realize how much we have in common, John and I. And that's going to be the premise of this show. Because everyone watching, you're looking around, you're seeing this polarization, right? You're seeing everyone just being distant from you, you assume. But in reality, if you guys talk through your situations, you'll find much more in common than you would find in difference. So I got to Brinks TV, frankly, because during my contract talks at Fox Sports, I had a little birdie, I had a little homie named John Brenkus call me up in the middle of those negotiations and say, Marcellus, I'm cooking up something over here, big dog. Would you join me? Obviously, the answer to that is yes, and I am here now at Brinks TV. There is so much in front of me, so much open space, so much green pasture that I am so excited to go on this journey with you, to share this experience with you. And I used to tell people this all the time when I was working, whether it was NFL Network when I started day one, and then it was ESPN, it was Fox Sports, wherever I've been, I never had to work because all I did was answer questions and be myself. And I just showed up all the time. But then it became work. It became a labor of love. I used to go in and say, I'm going to be real. And then I look next to me, look around me, look on social, look at other shows. I'm like, that's not who I know. I know that person. I just don't know this persona. And when that distance started to get so wide, it started to affect me because now I was in a place where I was working uphill and feeling the resistance to my greatest ambitions, which is just to translate my life and experiences to you to hopefully help you out and enhance yours. My day is interesting. Obviously, it's shifted because before, think about it, since graduation, I've been the guy that had an itinerary given to him and just said, all right, be here, show up and ball out. And then that transitioned to doing shows, which is basically the same thing. Hey, the show starts here, stops here. I want you to show up and ball out. And then I became independent, not only with my thoughts, but also with my actions and with my endeavors. And I started to think legacy, started to think bigger picture, started to think, what am I going to really leave my kids, not only in assets, but in mindset? Like, are they going to just go somewhere and punch clocks? And look, being real, working at all the places I work, that's a hell of a clock to punch, right? It doesn't punch back, it takes the punch. But I didn't want my kids to think that they didn't have the inner power to create for themselves. So when I got to a place where all of a sudden it wasn't allowing me to the fullest to be myself, I had to go out there and create that. I had to create this experience, this platform opportunity, and this shared experience with you. And that's where I am right now. So my days are crazy. Everyone knows I have too many kids to name, and they just run my life. So it's like I'm playing double dutch. Kids, Brinks. Kids, Brinks. Kids, Brinks. And I'm just trying to juggle it all. But it's all in love, man, because I think there's a greater good that we both can serve if we just typically go out there and make sure that we put our heart first and the truth first. So in this dynamic, man, think about it, Brinks. I'm gonna give you the magic wand. You give me a 5-year forecast. What do you foresee out of this relationship and out of Brinks TV?
Look, positive energy begets positive energy. That's why we're both literally on this screen at the same time right this second. And I can't imagine that the universe wants it to stop here. I can't imagine that this is the last program. Can't imagine that you are going to be the last one to join the Brinks family. This is just the beginning. I mean, we already have such incredible programming and relationships, but honestly, I'm so grateful for Marcellus Wiley really being at a stage in his life and a stage in his own personal development where he said, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to be out there, make myself vulnerable, and world, this is me. And you know what? Are you guaranteed that this is going to work? None of us are guaranteed that this is going to work. We're not guaranteed it's going to work even if we're on ESPN. It could fall apart at any moment. But what I see 5 years from now is really, if you think about what ESPN was, in the day, it was pretty special. And somewhere along the way, it just kind of lost its mojo. It just has. And that's not me dissing on ESPN. It's me kind of taking big media companies and saying they can't make decisions fast enough with a clear enough head to really pivot the way that they should. It's like, you can't decide anything by committee. You got to be an individual who's able to lead. Mass media is missing that. Brinks TV 5 years from now, I believe you're going to see an explosion in growth to the extent that Marcellus Wiley and John Brenkus on this channel, on this feed, on this day, everyone will look back and say, man, they were on to something.
Man, say it again, testify, my man. It's funny you bring that up because I think in mass media right now, there is an internal conflict because they're trying to serve too many gods. Yeah. And that's what happens, you know, you just see the splices everywhere and the agenda kind of tries to put the bow on top and people are starting to see the cracks in that armor. I understand that to the fullest. But the reason why I know this will succeed is because God didn't bring me this far to drop me off here. And that's what my grandmother used to always say when you're going through something and then you have that doubt. And everyone doubts themselves. I hate when people go out there, oh man, I knew it was going to work. No doubt, 100%. No doubt, 100%, really? You know what confidence really is? It's the management of doubt. It's how you deal with doubt. But guess what? You're dealing with something and it's called that doubt. But I'm in this position where I believe this is going to work to the fullest. Why? Because everything that I've done right now, as long as my heart leads me, all my actions will support it and it will be a blessing. I'm looking forward to that, man.